2 years ago. That was in November, was it?
Yep.
Before
November.
Thanksgiving?
Yep.
It was scary. Banging on that behind the house, huh?
Yep.
Big waves. We have to go next door and go sleep, huh?
Yep.
Because this house is just empty. No beddings, nothing. Sure had lots of hell.
Well, it was terrible.
Real bad.
Really bad.
Storm.
We're still in bad shape yet anyway.
Yeah.
They talk about this, sea level coming up, all that ice melting up north in Beaufort Sea.
Sure eroded fast, huh?
Real quick. But good thing it was frozen though.
Frozen.
Good thing there's permafrost underneath there. Kind of slow it down a little bit. Oh, that temperature is really going up too out there. Well, it really start warming up in summertime, spring, summer. Even now that sun is really starting to warm up. It's not like, before when we were growing up or when we were young people. Right now it'd be pretty cold out there, like say maybe 10, 20 years ago.
Sure change, huh?
Yep. Getting warmer and warmer all the time, really, really fast.
Not just downstates.
Yep.
Oh.
The way I hear and the way I think that our lagoon here, it don't be that thick too anymore in winter. It's only about 4 or 5 feet thick now. Long ago it used to be as thick as the house, 8, 9 feet, 10 feet, something like that, but it don't freeze that hard anymore.
The biggest problem of us here is we're an island on barrier islands, and then there's gravel about 12 miles away on the beach for a little bit, but the rest is all sand. So we have two kinds of erosion. We have the wind erosion, we have the water erosion, because the sand is so fine here. In the state of Alaska, there's quite a few, like even down in the lower, those villages in Yukon. There's Kivalina up north. Even Barrow is having a problem.
Same problem.
Yeah, same problem. So, but for Shishmaref, they're taking us pretty seriously because we're an island. We have no place to go to other than to find a location over on the mainland. And there's a lot of consideration we had to do was the channels for barges. because you know they're for delivering fuel. Uh, Airport should be no problem because you know once we start hauling gravel, that's going to be the one of the first things that I'm sure they'll build.
Our people back in the 1950s, they first noticed that they were having problems with erosion from fall storms, and that's when they started discussing the problems of erosion and flooding. Back then we had a lot more land than what we have now. You know, it probably went out like 500-600 feet out from where it is now. Past few years, you know, we've had storms where we've had land as much as 125 feet that have been lost in certain areas, and some places 50 feet, 30 feet of storm. You know, it's all different, but it's gradually increasing. After the 1997 storm, the community decided that we had to do something to help our community with the flooding and erosion. During the 1997 storm, we actually had one home that was lost during that storm, and then that family was moved in with their family for the time being. So after the 97 storm, the following year in 1998, we moved 13 homes to the other side of the community. And then following that, we moved another 5 homes. And the family that lost their home, another home was built for them through the housing authority, Bear Street Regional Housing Authority, for low-income homes or something like that.
All our neighbors move over to the other end now. We had lots of neighbors over here. They're all over there now, on the other end. They lost their old house out there that used to stand down here. A couple,
Double deck.
yeah, maybe a couple 100 feet out there. Their big house, it went down. Yeah.
We have to empty it out.
Yep.
Empty all out.
I had to empty the whole house here.
Everything. Because it's just go over our house now and that way fit.
Yep.
Go on the other side. And then there was water. They say there's water coming out and on other side too. I never go out. Just stay in.
Real high water. We're breaking right on the edge over here below us and pound that wall over here in the ground. Sometimes even kind of shiver a little bit. The house, when they really hit.
Even used to scare us when
Yep.
they pound and go over
Yep.
our house. Oh cow, our house is so big.
They've always said Shishmaref is a friendly town anyway, and then this community, when we have storms, they just get together and then try to save whatever we can. And because it usually happens nighttime when we're trying to save boats, houses, because the water gets so high. And there's been many times when people like Shirley and a bunch of women get together and make sandwiches and then make us coffee. So, you know, this community is knit together, and we've been fortunate for that. Whereas for me and the older generation that are in middle age, like me and Shirley, we're really into subsistence lifestyle, and we take advantage of having access to the ocean for spring hunting. Then we have July fishing, and then we know where the fish are, we know where the berries grow, and we have very good knowledge of the ocean.
We want a female bag.
But due to global warming, the berries are ripening a lot quicker. And the cold spells haven't been that long because December is usually warm, and that ocean right now is only about 2 feet thick. It opened up, and us hunters are kind of concerned about that because it's going to thaw out quick this spring for a spring hunt. But when that happens, we usually start chasing game up around Espenberg or that area towards Kotzebue. Follow the ice, and then try to get our food for the winter.
Get the heaviest part out.
I don't hardly hunt anymore, but whenever my boys, and then after we get so many, I always tell them enough, and I always tell them that if they want to hunt some more, they got to hunt for elders here in town because they need food too. So, yeah, that's real important. So that was my main reason, I think, for voting not to relocate.
In 2002, the community decided to relocate onto the mainland. In that vote, the majority of the community voted yes to move. Basically, everybody is aware that we need to move, and there's a few that disagree about moving, you know, because they want to be by the ocean. But we don't really have a choice because of the rate of erosion that we've been having in the past few years, you know. We've been losing a lot of land, and the level of the water is getting higher and higher, and it's making the storms worse and worse. Nowadays, we don't need a real bad storm to lose a lot of land, you know. We just need a little bit of high water.
Even if we get to the mainland somewhere back there, I think it might be kind of hard for somebody to hunt out there in the ocean.
It's gonna be hard.
But the scientists say that if that water and don't freeze anymore, there'll be no game out there.
No games.
Yeah, that's what the scientists talk about once in a while. So I guess somebody has to think about that, you know, to move out of here.
seems like we're moving closer and closer to that actual move. Once they get the new site selected over there, there's 5 sites, and they kind of narrowed down to one. It's just a matter of doing a study. They still haven't really started the environmental impact statement study yet. They started last summer, but they said there were some ducks laying eggs in the new site, and that slowed everything down. And I always say, what's more important, ducks or people, you know? Because ducks can go lay eggs somewhere else. They tell us that it's just a matter of finding the money or funding from the state or the federal government, because this community here, we have nothing in line of natural resource like oil or mines here to help with the funding. There's even money to Smithsonian Institute called me up and said that there was money to move the cemetery, to dig up the people. And when that happened, you know, like my mother, who passed away 4 or 5 years ago, said, Sonny, she always called me Sonny, if the village relocates, don't move my body, leave me here, because I was born and raised here. So we circulated little forms to whoever wanted them. So while a person is living, you know, if they wanted their bodies buried here first and then dug up again and moved to a new site. And then all the elders, they don't want to move from this site. It's been real interesting. I'm glad I had some involvement.
Probably the most concern that everybody has in relocating on to the mainland is that we will lose a part of our culture, we'll lose part of our identity, those kind of things. But we, you know, the coalition feels it's still the best alternative than to move on to co-locate. If we relocate to the mainland, we'll be able to keep most of our traditions. But if we're forced to move to other places, such as, you know, the other places, we'll lose eventually our cultural identity and, you know, our traditions. We'll lose it faster if we have to move to other places.
I'm sure for the summer subsistence purposes that we'll find a way to come back down here like they do in Breivik Mission. Still, they, as soon as the school is out, they vacate their community to go bearded seal hunting and walrus hunt 6-7 miles away, and we'll do the same thing here because that's what we mostly eat. Especially seal oil and dry meat. And for Shirley and I, we take care of Dad, since he's an elder, provide him oil and stuff, because that's our diet. Every nation has, every country has a diet of their own, like the Koreans and Japanese, mostly rice. And for us, it's in this community, it's fish, caribou, seal oil, and we always have seal oil when we're having soup for dip. But that pretty much kind of gives you an idea how I feel as Cliff Weona. I don't know if you have any questions. Our style of living will change a little bit, but even if we move 12 miles away or whatever that is across the bay, we'll find access somehow, especially our kids and our grandchildren. They're the ones that's gonna be, we have to fight for.
I'm Ryota Kajita. Everybody calls me Kaji because it's easy to call me. And I'm from Japan, and I'm now MFA student in photography here at UAL. I stayed in Shishmaref in 2002 before I decided to make my film. And at that time, I wanted to experience the native Alaskan lifestyle with Shishmaref residents. And it's not because I wanted to record the native life, nor document the global climate change. My desire was simply to spend time with them. And the motivation came from the photographs and the books taken and written by Michio Hoshino, who was a Japanese photographer. The first village he visited in Alaska was Shishmaref, and he spent there about 3 months. So I just wanted to do the same thing as he did. In 2002, Michio's widow, Naoko, introduced me the same family who hosted Michio. And they offered me the living space and also good food. They were very, very nice, even though I wasn't able to speak English at all. When I went to Shishmaref in 2006, some houses I can't find. Yeah, I was very shocked. I spent there, the Shishmaref, for 3 months as like a member of family. So I feel very intimacy toward them, and also I feel the place is like a second hometown. So I was very sad, and I wanted to do something for them. In 2006, I decided to make my film and do some interviews with residents in Shishmaref. And that time is about a week or so. The topic was very, very important to them, I mean the residents in Shishmaref. And they wanted to let the situation that residents are focusing to know everybody, I mean to the world. They wanted to let spread their information. So they are very supportive for my project. I'm still struggling to speak English correctly, and I can't understand English perfectly. And several years ago, I visited to Shishmaref. My ability of speaking English was worse. So doing interview was very, very tough. But interviewees are very kind and patient about my English. And even they encouraged me to keep interviewing. So I really appreciate them. The most kind of surprising things is not in Shishmaref, but when we went to hunting to the mainland, there were so many mosquitoes there. That's what's so annoying. They attacked me every time and keep attacking. And the mainland was so uncomfortable. But once we went back to Shishmaref, the village there were no mosquitoes there because it's island and the strong wind there. So yeah, I feel so the Shishmaref was a comfortable place, I said at that time. If they relocate to another place, of course they can live in another places, but each village has each distinctive culture. If the relocation happens, their specific Shishmaref culture gonna be disappear, I think.
If you have a film that you'd like to see broadcast on public television, consider submitting it today. Short stories, animations, documentaries, and experimental films will all be considered. For details on how to submit your work, visit kuac.org/akshorts.